Burgess, come here. Come see me. Come see me over here. That's the wrong way. No, come here. People like you. Do you want to see people? Come here. Hi, bud. Hi. Can you say hi to the camera? Say hi. Oh, hi, sweet boy. Hey there. Welcome to my channel. I'm Ashley, and today I wanted to quickly run through the list of books that I read in the month of August. It is a very rainy and gloomy Labor Day here in Montana, so listen, we're ready for fall. Fall is here. My house is about to explode with all of the fall decorations as soon as I'm done filming. So I'm getting this one last bit of summer in before we start heading into these colder months, and I couldn't be happier about it, to be quite honest. But without further ado, here's everything I read in the month of August. August was a very, very busy month around here. Really just at the start, we had family up, and so audiobooks kind of saved my life for this month. I have more audio than I do Kindle or physical. So we're gonna jump into those first. The first book that I listened to on audio this month was Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I don't even know that I need to explain Fourth Wing to anybody anymore at this point, but let me say, I gave it 5 stars. I can't believe how good this book was. I was absolutely, I was enraptured. And let me tell you, the audio book is 21 hours long. So if you've got 21 hours that you're trying to kill, head over and get this book from your library, Audible, whatever it is that you listen to audio on. It was fantastic. Fourth Wing is an adult fantasy, in my opinion. I have been hearing a lot of it's Harry Potter with dragons. I don't see so much Harry Potter in there because of, there's a little bit of some magical powers, but it's really a war college that you have different houses, I guess you could say, but it really reminds me more of Hunger Games than anything else. The story is about a young girl named Violet who is starting off at the war college Basgiath, and she has been training her whole life to be a scribe. So she is essentially a historian. She's in charge of archiving the history of their people. But her mom, who is a high up general in their government, has decided, no, you're gonna be a writer, which is basically sentencing her to death. She's gotta survive her first year. She's gotta survive a lot of stuff before actually becoming a writer. So it's this journey of Violet changing her entire life to do what her mom is making her do, while also trying to survive this war college where the children, they're not children, okay? They're adults. They're college age students. They can kill one another and it's fine. So they're literally going after one another and it's totally okay. She's got to survive that, and she has to survive dragons. So she does need to bond with a dragon, and if a dragon doesn't like you, they will just incinerate you. So good luck, Violet. Hope you come out the other side. Additionally, she's going to learn that the things that she has been taught growing up maybe aren't quite what they seem. All right, I loved this book so much that I took nearly no notes whatsoever. The narrator on this audiobook, she was fantastic. Absolutely 6-7 stars. I haven't heard someone narrate a book like this so well in such a long time. I was hooked. There was never a time where I got annoyed. The only time I fast forwarded was through some steamier scenes, because I have recently become very uncomfortable with audiobooks getting steamy and having somebody else read me the steamy parts. I can read them on the page, it's fine, but if I'm hearing it in somebody else's tone, it makes me just cringe. I can't do it. So I fast forwarded through that. Also, side note, really thought that this was a young adult fantasy. It is not young adult, okay? This is not young adult. It is brutal, it is sexual. This is not young adult. I repeat, not young adult, it is adult fantasy. And finally, to wrap it off, the way that these characters progressed, the found family that is involved with all these kids trying to kill each other, Hunger Games style, it was nice to see friendships form and these bonds of trust develop, and especially watching Violet progress throughout the start of the year to the end of this first book. The second book comes out in November, and I couldn't be more excited. I am due at the end of November, so I'm like, how inconvenient is it that this book comes out November 7th and I'm not due for a couple more weeks? Should I get the book physically and read it? I'm like, no, I'm on a book buying ban until I read all these things. So I'm already trying to get it on audio. I'm trying to get ahead of it so I can at least have it done and out of the way so I can focus on this child when she gets here. But I'm so excited for the second installment. It is so good. Okay, I know I said I quickly wanted to go through all these books, but I really loved Fourth Wing, obviously, like the rest of the world. So moving on, the next audiobook that I read in the month of August was The Hotel Nantucket by Elin Hilderbrand. I gave this book 4.25 stars. I did like the narrator on this one. This is a literary fiction, you know, kind of a finding yourself women's literature type of book. There is a bit of a found family aspect in this. The book follows our main character, Lisbeth, and she has just gone through a really bad breakup, that she lives on the island of Nantucket, and she and her ex had a restaurant together. She's parting ways from him, so she's trying to find her own place in the Nantucket, sphere of things. So she becomes a general manager of a new hotel that's been renovated. It's got a really murky history and reputation. Enter the hotel ghost, Grace. And so throughout this, you're trying to watch the hotel survive, thrive, and get a really good rating from this very well-known travel blogger who reviews hotels and has only given people 4 keys. She has never given anyone the infamous 5th key. So the staff's goal this summer is to get that 5th key, all at the same time interacting with these guests, trying to figure out if the hotel ghost's murder can be solved. There is a lot going on in this book. There are a lot of characters, and they are all developed so beautifully. And I think that Elin Hilderbrand just did an excellent job. She's been writing books for forever, and so obviously she's gotten this down to a science at this point. But every single one of these characters, even the ones I wanted to hate, I still was like, oh. The children are even written well, which is sometimes difficult. Either people always make children too mature for their age or incredibly immature, and there's just no good in between, but she did an excellent job with every single one of the characters in this book. Overall, it's an excellent beach read for the end of the summer. So if you're looking for something, if you're not one of those girls that are ready to reach into fall just yet, and you're grasping at straws for the end of summer, check out The Hotel Nantucket. I think it's a perfect read for that. The final book that I read in the month of August was The Murder on Poet's Walk by Ellery Adams. This is the 8th book in this Storybrooke Hall series, and I gave it 3 stars. This is the 8th book in the Storybrooke? This is the 8th book in the Storyton Hall series by Ellery Adams, and I gave it 3 stars. It is a cozy mystery, and it's like a book lover book. You know what I mean? When the main character is also so into books that you're just like, oh, bless your heart, me too. So the Storyton Hall, have I been saying the right name? Designed to protect. Our main character is named Jane, and she is the guardian of Storyton Hall. Her staff at this hotel, so Storyton Hall is also a hotel, and it is a book-themed hotel. They have like the Jane Austen gazebo, they have this Poet's Walk, they have a Walt Whitman area, they have a couple of other, they've all been featured in all of these books. Clearly, I can't remember them at the top of my head right now. However, the rest of the staff, being the wait staff, the butler, the chauffeur, there's all these other people. They're called the Finns. And every single one of them, including Jane, are trained in combat, because not only are they a hotel, they are guardians of rare literature pieces that have been entrusted to them over the last several hundreds of years. There are items from Shakespeare that they're protecting. In this particular book, they are guarding some Walt Whitman items. And so the pieces of literature that they're guarding were very controversial at the time they were written. And so they didn't want to be destroyed, because we shouldn't just destroy things because we don't agree with them. Right, guys? They didn't want to destroy them, so they gave them to Storyton Hall, and they were able to protect them over time. But as word has gotten out that Storyton Hall has these rare literature pieces, there are people that want to find them and are willing to kill for them. So, cozy mystery, of course. No one is getting anything but poisoned. Everyone gets poisoned in a cozy mystery, so you really know what the cause of death is usually going to be. It's usually poisoning. No one is ever very violently murdered, okay? It is very rare. I will say the narrator for all 8 of these books is atrocious. And I'm so sorry to say that. She reads Jane in a way that, have you ever read a character that's perfect? And you can't relate to that character because they're so perfect. They're like, I woke up at 5 a.m. and I put on my jeans and black t-shirt that I always wear. This isn't this character, but they have a perfect cup of coffee. They have their perfect children. They have their perfect husband. They have all these little perfect things in their life. And the way that she speaks is very affected. And I can't stand the narration on this. And for the longest time too, she wasn't pronouncing gazebo correctly. She does finally in this book, she was saying the Jane Austen gazebo, but in previous books, she was saying the Jane Austen gazebo. And I was like, all right, is this a matter of vase and vase? Because you're gonna get me going on this. The red herrings are pretty obvious. Like I'm sitting there going, oh, that's clearly a red herring. And then, I'm proven right. And I'm like, nailed it. I feel like I was a detective on this case and I solved it. So they're just fun. It's a modern Murder, She Wrote if Jessica Fletcher was trained in combat. So if you're looking for a really quick, easy read, the audiobook was, I believe, about 8 hours. So you can get it done in a day, in a work day, if you were, really just going for it. But they're fun books. They're fun books. Like I said, the narrator really kills me. I've never read one in print. I've always listened to all these books, but would recommend if you're looking for a quick read. All right, now moving over to my Kindle. So the one book that I read in the month of August on here was In the Likely Event by Rebecca Yarros. So that's right, I read 2 Rebecca Yarros books in the month of August. I did give In the Likely Event 4.25 stars. This was one of the Kindle first reads that came out this summer, so I was very excited to read it, and I purposefully paired it with Fourth Wing. I wanted to see her writing style between this adult fantasy versus this romance, war, and politics book. Rebecca Yarros, you can definitely tell she's got a military history. So I believe her husband's in the military. It sounds like she grew up in the military too, her parents were in it. So I might be wrong on that, but I believe that's what I read. So she knows, I feel like she knows what she's talking about. She gets the drama of battle and war and all of it. She just writes it so well, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So 4.25 stars for In the Likely Event. It is, like I said, it's a romance, war, and politics book. It is about these 2 main characters, which this is also dual POV and dual timelines. So we go back and forth between different people and certain times. Modern day takes place in August of 2021 in Afghanistan when the US troops were getting pulled out of Afghanistan quickly and Afghanistan cities were falling to the Taliban. It was a very scary time to watch unfold here in the US in real time. She writes it in such a way that, it was even scary to read. Like the stakes are high, okay? So that's the modern day timeline. And then we also go back about 10 years before then. So our main characters are Izzy and Nate. They meet one fateful day as they are getting ready to fly out, going to their respective ways. They sit next to each other on a plane. 90 seconds after takeoff, the plane crashes. And they are basically now bonded for life. So they are magnets, consistently drawn to one another throughout the years in various ways. They always manage to find one another again, but the timing is just never right for them to be together. They each have things that they're struggling with. Nate has a really rough past with the way that he was raised, with his dad, with there's issues there. He ends up going into the military. He wants to be special forces. Izzy, on the other hand, she's kind of being forced into being a lawyer. Her family is very high up in DC and very prestigious, and she's kind of got her life laid out for her on what they expect. Nate doesn't really fit into that plan. So she's got to find a way to push aside what her parents want for her, and Nate has to be able to let her in. So we see them kind of struggling to make things work in the past and where they run into each other constantly, and you watch their relationship blossom and their love grow, and it's really beautiful and sweet. And oh gosh, I don't swoon very often, but Nate, he's so sweet on Izzy, and they're both sweet on each other. But there is this moment where obviously now they're both terrified to fly, okay? He's obviously gotten over it. He's in the military. He has to get through it. She is still terrified to fly, but as they're together in Afghanistan, he always makes an effort every time they have to fly somewhere on these helicopters. She's in there for political reasons, and he has to protect her. So they are the armed guards that were sent to protect her little political unit, political party unit that have shown up for some really gross photo ops in Afghanistan. She's actually a very good person though. She's written really well. Also, the politics on this this is what I love to see, okay? It was not heavy on the left or the right. Like, I just did that backwards, but it was just, there's a way to write it without alienating a side. And she did it beautifully. She did it beautifully. Seriously, I love this book so much. But anyway, Nate, as they're flying off to one of their various spots in Afghanistan, he knows that music will help calm her down. So he is, giving her his phone, putting in an AirPod so that she can listen to like her favorite song. And he takes control of the situation, and he's just, I love them. So anyway, excellent book. I was all the things. I was swooning, I was scared, I was nervous, I was happy, I was sad. There's a lot to happen in this book. So give it a read. Again, it was a Kindle first read, so it's likely available on Kindle Unlimited. So go check it out. Rebecca Yarros has just proven herself to be a successful writer for obvious reasons. Like, she really has knocked both of these books I read this month right out of the park. Okay, on to the physical books. Finally, we're here. I read 2 books this month that were physical. So I feel like I really kind of failed this month. If you watched my my August TBR video from last month, my July wrap-up August TBR, you'll see I think I chose like 13 or 14 books for August. I don't know what I was thinking. I just wanted to give myself options. And I'm like, girl, I didn't think this through clearly, because I read, like I said, two. The first book that I finished in the month of August is finally Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. Finally read this behemoth of a book. She's pretty thick. She's pretty thick. I mean, it's over 500 pages, okay? So I don't feel too bad about it taking me as long as it took. Plus, I had started reading this on Kindle Unlimited earlier this year. I thought I was about 30% of the way through when I stopped. I think I was actually on page 30 when I stopped, because I canceled my subscription because I wasn't using it too much. So I had a lot more to read than I thought I did. I rated this book 4.25 stars. I know it's a 5-star read for a lot of people. I'll get to why I knocked it down 0.75 stars, and it's really got to do with one character. This is a lot of genres, okay? I even had to write this down. So we are romance, small town, found family, enemies to lovers, grumpy sunshine. I mean, like, you've really got it all in here, okay? Our main character, Naomi, who is a runaway bride, she ends up in the town of Knockamout, Virginia, to save her sister Tina from some SOS that she has sent out. Tina is her twin sister and a total delinquent. Naomi shows up in town. Tina robs her blind and leaves her behind with no money, no phone, no car, and also an 11-year-old niece named Waylay that she didn't even know existed. This is a beautiful small town story where it's like, yeah, it's a small town, but they're gonna provide you big help to get you up and on your feet and on your way. And we're gonna realize that you're not your sister Tina, who everybody knows is awful and only does bad things. And we're gonna get you going. And it was just a little sweet redemption story for Naomi to start her life over in a new town, to really like build her own. The side characters in this book, I absolutely adored. I loved Waylay. I get nervous with kids because I always think they're gonna do something stupid to stress me out, like get themselves hit by a car or run away from home, or, things like that it just make my heart palpitate. And she's such a smart kid. I love Waylay. I love her best friend. I love Steph. I love Sloan, the characters that we meet in the town, even her parents. Naomi's parents are fantastic. And then of course we have the love interest, Knox, and his brother Nash. So Knox is the main male lead in this book, and he is why I can't give this book 5 stars, because he grated on my nerves so hard. He is a total Neanderthal caveman, and I had a very hard time reading him. There is a particular scene at one point in here where he interrupts Naomi in the middle of her work. They're not dating, and in order to get her to go where he wants her to, he picks her up, throws her over his shoulder, walks out with her in front of all the patrons that are in this, in her workplace, and her butt is showing to everybody, and she's trying to pull her skirt down. And if this happened in real life, you guys, this is, anyway, I get it. We read because it's fantasy. We read to escape, and for those types of things to be okay. I have a hard time with that one. I have a really hard line. I can suspend belief a lot, but that one, Overall though, I really did enjoy this book. I thought it was so fun. The writing is really well done. This is my first Lucy Score book, so I did enjoy it. It had a great ending. It had a surprise ending for me. It felt, I was like, okay, here we go. Everything's coming to a head. Suspenseful. There's a whole lot of things going on. So give it a read. I know that I need to think, or what's the next book in this series called? It's probably not in the front of this, is it? No, because it probably wasn't written yet. Yeah, Things We Hide from the Light, or is that the one coming out this fall? I don't know, but I'm ready to read the next book. I'm ready to read about Nash, and I'm not going to though, because I would have to buy the book. And I'm on a book buying ban until I'm done with my shelf. I need to count my books. And on to the final book that I read in the month of August. This one is gonna come out of left field, and I highly doubt anyone knows this book. If you do, please leave a comment and tell me that you know about this, because Trixie Belden. All right, so Trixie Belden and the Mysterious Code. This is book 7 in the series. This is like a Nancy Drew series from the 60s. So this book was written in 1961, and it is a young adult mystery friendship based book. I did give this book 3 stars, mostly because it is young adult. It is not meant for me. I am not the demographic of this book, and I didn't read it when I was younger. Trixie Belden and the Mysterious Code is about Trixie and her group of friends who are in a club. Their club is called the Bob Whites of the Glen. I believe Bob Whites are a bird. So they're the Bob Whites of the Glen, and there is a threat to their club because there's been a lot of vandalism at the school, and the club is being threatened to be closed down. And they're like, what do we do? How do we prove that we're actually benefiting people and we're not the vandals, you know? So what they end up doing is they decide that they're gonna have an antique show with all of the proceeds going to UNICEF. If you don't know what UNICEF is, sure, you could Google it, but if you want them to explain UNICEF to you so many times in a book, get this, because there are full pages of explanations of what UNICEF is. So as Trixie and her friends are putting together this antique show, word starts to get out that they have these very priceless antiques in their clubhouse and that people throughout town have these antiques. Well, obviously, guess what happens? People start wanting those antiques. So there's a little danger that's coming in, shadows lurking in the dark. It's just a fun, low, I mean, I don't know, sometimes the stakes got kind of high, but you know, it is a fun preteen book where the kids are supposed to be the heroes. Here's the deal. This book is not even 300 pages long. It's barely over 200. It took me a week and a half to read it because I couldn't wrap my brain around the fact that these kids were the heroes. It would be like if you tried to read Harry Potter for the first time as an adult, and you would sit there and you would go, hold on. One, why are these kids so mature in the way that they talk and the way that they think? Like, I wasn't like that at 13. 2, where are the adults? And 3, why are these kids getting murdered and no one's doing anything? Where are the parents? That was a lot of what, no one, you know, no kids getting murdered in this book, but, you know, that was the same questions I had while reading this, was just, where are the adults? Where are the adults? But guess what? The adults weren't supposed to be the main characters in this book because it's for kids, and the kids are needing to be the heroes, and they are. So let the book be what it's gonna be. It was fun to read, especially because of the time gap between when it was written and now. So this book is 60 years old, at least. Yeah, 62 years old. It was written in 1961, like I said. It's, boy, is it dated. There's a lot of jeepers, gleeps, lots of things like that. Trixie calls her mom, moms. Hey, moms. You know, it was really cute. The parents in this book actually are very supportive of their kids, and I really loved seeing that. It was very sweet. But there's also, you know, there's just some stuff that was said in the 60s that we don't say now. You know, when it comes to different races, female, male roles in society, the way that girls talk to one another or even to themselves about their bodies. It was a different time. Okay, it was a different time, people, and so just let it be. It was a fun little time capsule, and I'm glad we don't talk that way anymore. I will say there wasn't any dropping of like certain like racial terms that are like slurs. I'm not talking, no, nothing like that. Overall, I'd say that this would be a great book if you've got a young preteen in your life who does like Nancy Drew, and maybe you want to give her another little set of books to go off of. It's fun. I will say I did learn about the ghostwriter on this, which was a little different. So it says that this book is by Kathryn Kinney. Kathryn Kinney. Kathryn Kinney is not a person. It is the ghostwriter from the publication company of this book. So the original author only wrote 6 books, Well, then they kept going, and this got fans all kinds of stirred up. I got on Goodreads to look at reviews, and I learned all about this whole ghostwriter situation, and people were very irate and angry at this book because of the ghostwriter. I've not read the first 6 books. This is literally the only one I have, and I've had it since 1993. On the inside cover here, I do have a nice little inscription from my grandma who got this for me in 1993, likely from a garage sale. So I don't know, it was the first time I've read it because I liked Nancy Drew growing up. Go figure, she got me this. So anyway, that's Trixie Belden. I would recommend for a younger audience. It's definitely not something that I think you read as an adult for the first time and actually really enjoy. Okay, let's keep this ball moving. Quick. What am I reading in September? Okay, so I have a very small TBR list this month because let's not get carried away with ourselves like we did last month, right? First up for September, what I would like to read, and I'm currently reading and only have about 100 pages left, is Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. I'm not gonna give away my feelings on this yet, but I'm not gonna say that they're positive. I just finished watching this the other day, and now I'm gonna read it for the first time and see if it makes me bawl. I'm gonna finally read A Walk to Remember. Very much so looking forward to this. It looks like a little shorty book. Gotta love those. Again, this is on my list again this month. Court of Mr. Fury. I know. I'm gonna finally read it this month. I have to. It's getting too far gone now that I need to read it. And then finally, Love in Other Words. In my head, this has been a winter book, but I think this may actually be a summer book. I don't know. We'll see. I'm looking forward to this immensely though. I hear that this is the best Christina Lauren book and I've never read any of theirs. So looking forward to it. Can't wait. I'll let you know how it goes. All right, guys, that's it. That's all I have for the month of August and what's coming up in the month of September. I hope you have a wonderful fall. I am now going to start letting fall throw up all over my house and we gotta start putting some baby stuff together. I have a stroller and car seat over there just waiting to be set up. Things are getting real. Okay, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment, come back. See you next month. Bye.